It began with a single, venomous sentence, spat over the backyard fence of my new home in Willow Creek, a pristine suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina. "People like you don't belong in a place like this." The words came from my neighbor, Evelyn Harper, a woman with a face like curdled cream and eyes that gleamed with disdain. I was on my porch, sipping coffee, chatting with my sister on the phone, when she hurled that line at me. It wasn't a jest or a neighborly jab, it was a declaration of war. My name is James Carter, a 52-year-old widower, and I'd moved to Willow Creek with my 11-year-old son, Ethan, for a fresh start after losing my wife. The neighborhood, with its oak-lined streets and top-rated schools, was supposed to be our sanctuary. But Evelyn's words were the first crack in that dream, a hint of the storm to come, a storm of theft, betrayal, and a revenge so twisted it would unravel everything I thought I knew. The vanishing lunches. The trouble started small, as insidious problems often do. Every night, I packed Ethan's lunch with care: a ham and Swiss sandwich, a pear, a juice pouch, and a bag of pretzels. It was our ritual, a way to send my love with him to school. But a month after we settled in, Ethan came home puzzled. "Dad, where was my sandwich today?" I brushed it off, thinking he'd misplaced it in the chaos of the school day. The next day, it was the juice pouch. Then the pretzels. Each time, Ethan swore he hadn't lost them, his eyes wide with honesty. At first, I doubted him. Kids lose things, I told myself. Maybe he was trading his lunch or sneaking snacks. But the arguments stung. "I'm not lying, Dad," he'd say, his voice trembling. The trust we'd built as a two-person family began to fray. I felt like a failure, accusing my son over something so trivial. To settle it, we started checking the lunchbox together each night. Sandwich, check. Pear, check. Yet, the items still vanished. The breaking point came when I found an empty pretzel bag in the kitchen trash. "See," I said, holding it up like evidence. "You ate them and lied." Ethan's face crumpled, not with guilt, but with heartbreak. "I didn't, Dad," he whispered, tears streaming. That moment gutted me. I'd broken our golden rule: we always have each other's backs. I apologized, vowing to solve this mystery together. Something was happening in our house, and it wasn't Ethan's fault. The midnight thief. The idea of a thief in our home was ludicrous, but the evidence was undeniable. A raccoon couldn't open a fridge and reseal a juice pouch. This was human. I ordered a discreet motion-activated camera online, a tiny device I hid on a bookshelf facing the fridge. That night, I packed Ethan's lunch with deliberate care, placed it in the fridge, and whispered to the empty kitchen, "Show me the truth." At dawn, I checked the fridge. The lunchbox was there, but Ethan opened it and gasped, "The sandwich is gone." My heart raced with vindication and fury. I pulled the camera's memory card and plugged it into my laptop. The footage was grainy but clear. At 2:13 a.m., the back door creaked open, and in walked Evelyn Harper, in a faded bathrobe, moving with the confidence of someone who owned the place. She opened the fridge, took Ethan's lunchbox, and removed the sandwich, juice, and pretzels, leaving the pear. She even replaced the sandwich with an empty plastic bag, as if mocking us. Then, with a smug glance around, she slipped out. The violation was visceral. She'd been in my home, night after night, stealing from my child. Her racist jab from weeks ago echoed. "People like you." This wasn't random, it was personal, a twisted power play. I wasn't just going to confront her. I was going to catch her red-handed. The trap. I planned meticulously. I installed a new deadbolt, but left the old lock in place for one night, baiting the trap. I told Ethan to stay in his room, claiming I had work to finish. Dressed in my sharpest Sueda navy pinstripe that screamed authority, I stood in the shadows of the living room, the camera now openly placed on the kitchen counter, its red light blinking. At 1:07 a.m., I heard the faint scrape of a lockpick. Evelyn entered, oblivious, and headed for the fridge. As she reached for the sandwich, I stepped forward, my voice ice cold. "What are you doing in my kitchen?" She froze, then spun, her face flashing fear before settling into indignation. "What are you doing here?" she snapped, as if I were the intruder. Then, in a move that left me speechless, she took a bite of Ethan's sandwich and sneered. "You people always have the best food. It's only fair to share." I pointed to the camera. "It's all recorded. You breaking in, stealing for weeks." Her smile faltered, but she doubled down. "This is an open house. I'm a buyer. When I countered that my house wasn't for sale, she grabbed the juice pouch, slurped it, and said, "I'm calling the police. You're threatening a defenseless woman." She dialed 911, spinning a tale of a dangerous man in her home. The audacity was staggering. As she performed for the dispatcher, I stood rooted, knowing the optics. A black man in a suit versus an older white woman in a wealthy suburb. The deck was stacked against me. The police and the son's truth. When the police arrived, the lead officer, a stern man named Officer Daniels, eyed me with suspicion. Evelyn played the victim, tears and all, claiming I'd broken in and threatened her. "He's not from here," she whispered. I explained calmly, "This is my house. She's the thief. I have video." But Daniels ordered me onto the porch, treating me like the suspect. As Evelyn spun her lies, a new figure emerged: her son, Nathan, a lanky 22-year-old with his mother's blonde hair, but none of her venom. He approached, horrified. "Mom, what did you do?" Evelyn hissed at him to stay out of it, but Nathan turned to Daniels. "He's my neighbor. He lives here with his son." Then came the bombshell. Nathan confessed that Evelyn was a kleptomaniac, stealing small items, garden flags, mail, even Ethan's lunch dough reclaim what she felt entitled to. He admitted to picking the lock to limit her thefts, thinking a sandwich was less harmful than a TV. But the real shock was his connection to Ethan. "I play video games online with his son," Nathan said. "He's my best friend. He told me his dad thought he was lying about the lunches. It was breaking them apart, and I knew it was Mom." The room stilled. While Evelyn waged her petty war, her son had formed a bond with mine, unaware of our real-world ties. Nathan's guilt was palpable. "I put the pretzel bag in your trash, hoping you'd find it and stop blaming him." I felt a mix of pity and awe. Evelyn's facade crumbled, her low wail echoing as Daniels reviewed the footage. "Ma'am," he said, his tone hard, "you're coming with us." The community's betrayal. Evelyn was arrested, her plea deal including restitution and therapy. Her husband, a meek man named Gerald, put their house up for sale. But the neighborhood turned on me. Gerald spread lies that I'd framed Evelyn, a fragile woman. Friendly waves stopped. Someone slashed my tires. The HOA piled on, citing nonsense violations. My mailbox was too modern. My driveway had oil stains. They wanted me gone. Then Nathan called. "I found Mom's diaries," he said. "They detail every theft, every grudge, going back years." The journals were a goldmine. Evelyn had stolen Mrs. Larson's peonies, slashed Mr. Conway's tires, even spread rumors that drove a family away. Armed with this, I turned the HOA's hearing into a showdown. With my lawyer, I presented the diaries and video, exposing Evelyn's reign of terror. The room fell silent, faces ashen with shame. The meeting collapsed, and Evelyn's myth shattered. A fragile piece. The Harpers fled, their house sold to the Patels, a kind family who brought normalcy. Ethan healed, his laughter returning. I upgraded our security cameras, smart locks, the works. Life felt whole again. I even pitted Nathan, now working at a tech shop, free from his mother's shadow. But I was wrong to trust him. The ghost in the machine. The first sign was subtle. The living room TV flicked on at midnight, hissing static. Then the thermostat spiked to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. The smart lock clicked open, then shut. Motion alerts showed nothing but gaps in the footage. It was psychological torture, each incident deniable, driving me to paranoia. I suspected Gerald, seeking revenge. But the truth was darker. One night, every device went haywire, lights blazing, TV screaming static, thermostat at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. On Ethan's laptop, the background showed a live feed of his empty bed with the message, "I can see you." Fury replaced fear. I tore the house apart, finding a black box taped in the basement, a hacking device controlling my home. A cybersecurity expert traced it to an apartment near Nathan's tech shop. I texted him to meet at a diner. He arrived, not the nervous kid I knew, but a predator, his smile chilling. "I was wondering when you'd figure it out," he said. He'd orchestrated everything using Evelyn as a pawn, befriending Ethan online to spy, planting the box to torment me. "Why?" I asked. He leaned in. "Does Crescent Holdings ring a bell?" My stomach dropped. Years ago, as a corporate lawyer, I dismantled Crescent Holdings, a family firm, in a ruthless takeover. "That was my family's company," Nathan said. "You ruined us." My grandfather died. My father broke. My mother went mad, stealing to cope. This was never about sandwiches. It was about you. He'd manipulated everyone, turning Evelyn's arrest into a ploy to gain my trust. I wanted you to feel the madness we did, he said. I'm not done. I'll make you beg to leave. He walked out, leaving me shattered. But I wasn't defeated. The final stand. I reported Nathan to the police, providing the black box and expert's report. They arrested him for cyberstalking and burglary. His apartment held evidence, hacking tools, notes on my routines, even Ethan's game chats. He took a plea, getting 3 years and a restraining order. The neighborhood, humbled, rallied around us. The Patels started a watch group. Ethan and I rebuilt, stronger. I'd faced a dragon in Evelyn and a grandmaster in Nathan. But I stood my ground, protecting my son and our home. The truth was my weapon, and it won. What do you think? Was I right to fight back, or should I have left when the trouble started? How would you handle such injustice or revenge? Share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your perspective on standing up to bullies and navigating betrayal.